Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at this Corum tie bridge flying tourbillon. You can see it on our website, watchyouwant.com. Purchase it there. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. You can also click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time to see our full listing for this watch with additional accessories included, high-resolution images, and of course complete pricing details. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, this circa 2010 Baselworld novelty has an impressive fit for a timepiece of such size, and, thanks to titanium, impressively light and wieldy feel on the wrist. Now my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, and the watch is a perfect match for that. You can see simply in terms of shape, the profile of the watch has a tremendous amount of camber, so it arcs over the top of my wrist, and the straps, although they do conform to the lugs, there is no daylight between them, they don't have a tendency to flare out. Rather, they thrust down dramatically where they abut the lugs of the watch and simply wrap themselves almost bracelet-like around your wrist. It's an easy watch to wear, and that's before you even get to the bare measurements. Now, 42.5 millimeters across the broad, that is the 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock of the case. That doesn't include the crown, but it's not excessively broad. The watch feels nicely poised on the wrist. In terms of thickness, it's really not that thick, being 14 millimeters in total height. It only looks thicker because of the shear of the case flank. Now in terms of the lug-to-lug measurement, it does have an impressive outward number, 52 millimeters, but again, this is the kind of watch that wraps itself around your wrist, so you don't really have to worry about lug overlap, as there is a certain amount of overlapping and downward thrusting sort of continuity to the strap and the case that makes one sort of blur into the other. The bottom line is that the watch wears light and easy. Also, the watch is paired with a wonderful strap. The ergonomic qualities of it speak for themselves. You can see how it forms a sort of curvature that cradles the wrist, but it's also remarkably made. It has superior quality leather with a monotone stitch, a little bit of bolstering for aesthetic conformity as it moves into the flow of the lugs. There's really no visual break between the mass of the strap and the mass of the lug. One seamlessly blends into the other. Now as you move down the strap, you can see it thins out very nicely, becoming exceptionally slim and supple, so it will bend under the soft underside of your wrist. And it meets an incredibly well-made, double deployant, twin trigger release, fully finished stainless steel deployant clasp. Now this is a beautifully made piece because there aren't any marks of machining, of stamping, or relics of the manufacturing process. Although it is simply finished with a nice satin, contrasting with the polished finish of the pushers, it is nevertheless completely finished. There isn't a single crude or industrial component to be seen here, and when closed, it is very robust, requiring twin trigger actuation, positive disengagement to open, no friction fit, no accidents. Now you can see that the case itself, originally introduced in 2009 as the tie bridge, here takes the original concept of the tie bridge, as well as the original Vincent Calabrese 1980 golden bridge, and moves it firmly into the 21st century. Now the standout features are the modularity of the case. You can see the side is inserted with a gorgeous satin finish that contrasts with the brushed top of the case and the case back. You can see that the watch really looks like a sort of building or a machine under construction, as though some sort of piece of industrial technology were left unfinished, but beautifully polished, beautifully brushed. Everything that is here is executed to the highest standard. So while it does appear to be a watch that's perhaps halfway to completion, that's the underlying idea, and that's the beauty of the bridge concept, whether in gold or titanium. Now you can see that the caliber essentially is the face of the watch. So you're looking at the Corum caliber CO22. It's important because it takes the original baguette movement of the golden bridge and it stretches it out in more than one dimension. Whereas the golden bridge ran straight across, this one is spread apart. This one has almost the look of a trapeze or a scaffolding internal to the watch. It's surrounded by a beautiful PVD blackened bezel that's also internal. And what you're looking at is a combination of twin mainspring barrels, manually wound, yielding a 3-day power reserve. Their struts are made of what's known as R-cap, effectively the same material as German silver used in most Alango and Zuna calibers. It is PVD colored to a different finish than those naturally, but the chemical composition is very similar. Now, you can see central to the movement is a baguette bridge, and that's beautifully beveled to the point that you can see the glowing anglage right underneath the Corum marquee across the bridge. Now, the tourbillon itself is fantastic for two reasons. First, it's a flying tourbillon, so it has no bridge atop it to obscure the view of the works. Now, it's also remarkable because it's shock protected. You can see that the balance wheel does actually feature a shock protection spring, and this is very uncommon on tourbillon watches, which tend to be exceedingly delicate, almost never featuring shock protection on the balance wheel itself. And almost as an afterthought, with all of the richness of finish and engineering invested in this mechanism, you see a clever incorporation of the Corum Chaud de Fonte double key logo just above the tourbillon cage itself. Now you can see on the case back there is a small window to glance the backside of the movement, principally the winding function, and you can also see there is a note that this watch is part of a limited series of 99. This is a rare watch, this is a fine watch, this is a versatile watch, this is a sporty watch. If you like the concept of the golden bridge, but you feel it's a bit too formal, consider the tie bridge aesthetic. And if you're willing to consider the tie bridge, you may as well go all out, putting that gorgeous flying tourbillon movement on your wrist, watching it beat away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, pivoting on its 21 jewels. You can see that this is a fantastic example of a sort of industrial chic aesthetic applied to one of the most traditional refinements or complications in the luxury watch sector. You can see this remarkable take both on the Corum bridge and the flying tourbillon and purchase it on our website, watchyouwant.com.